Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are absolutely rolling up our sleeves and unpacking the official framework for the government of the state of Rodrigo's 2025 academic year. We're looking at what is essentially the ultimate bureaucratic blueprint, all organized by the Regional Educational Development Management, or as you probably know them, GDEDR. We're going to take this massive, highly structured document and translate it into a clear, straightforward roadmap. That way, you'll see exactly how the whole educational system is being completely rewired for the upcoming year.
Okay, let's dive right into this. To really understand the what and the how, we've got to start with the why. And the why here is a very specific piece of legislation, Law number 45679 of 2025. This single law is the absolute bedrock establishing polyvalent education, which is this multidisciplinary, highly versatile approach to learning across all federal teaching units. Let's be clear, this is not just some minor administrative tweak, It is a massive systemic shift. It literally dictates the entire 2025 reorganization. Every single hire, every class schedule, every management decision, it all cascades straight down from this one mandate.
So here is our roadmap for today. We've got 5 main stops. First, the 2025 guidelines. Second, general management and teams. Third, the state teaching units. Fourth, the 7 federal polos. And finally, technical class distribution.
Right, Section 1, 2025 Guidelines. Let's look at the official big picture.
So this document is officially titled The General Framework of Positions, Assignments, and Class Registration. It was organized by Rodrigo Navarro da Silva for January 2025. Now what's really fascinating here is the sheer level of standardization. The whole thing is built on incredibly strict ABNT norms. That's the Brazilian national standards body for formatting. And you might be wondering, why does that even matter? Well, in a government rollout of this massive scale, relying on strict national standards ensures total transparency. It means there's absolutely zero room for ambiguity when they deploy this new educational model.
Moving right along to Section 2, General Management and Teams. Let's talk about the state leadership.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that while the source material contains these endless, sprawling regional lists, the core leadership is actually super concise. You've got Rodrigo Navarro at the top as General Director, Kawan Henrique overseeing the Regional Management Branch as the GFR, General Superintendent, and Gustavo Bordignan sitting as the GDER Superintendent. By just isolating these 3 key figures, we can clearly see the exact command structure that's responsible for enforcing the new polyvalent education law, all without getting bogged down in the regional bureaucracy.
And of course, supporting that top-level leadership is a highly specialized array of central teams. We're talking pedagogical support, training, administration, human resources, supervision, press, and projects. But here is the critical takeaway. While the heads of each team are officially named, like Sandra Navarro heading up pedagogical support and Raimundo Nascimento leading HR, the vast majority of the other slots in these 10-person teams are currently listed as a preencher. That just means to be filled. So structurally, the 2025 layout is locked in, but the actual human personnel roster, it's still very much a work in progress. Now, as we look below that central administration, the whole system just bifurcates into 2 entirely distinct models. Let's draw a crystal clear contrast here. On one side, we have the state teaching units. These rely entirely on outsourced teachers, or terceirizadas, to staff their classrooms. But on the flip side, we have the federal polos, which operate using internal, specifically designated leadership and confidence roles. This right here is the fundamental structural difference that dictates how these 2 types of institutions run on a daily basis.
Let's dive into Section 3, State Teaching Units. Time to zoom in on those 4 specific state units.
All right, there are 4 state units specifically outlined for 2025. We have Parada 15, directed by Richardson, Sapolandia, directed by Alex, Mongaga, under Celine, and Jonathan Swift, directed by Vittoria. The organizational structure for these is intentionally lean. Literally just a director, a couple of vice directors, and a project coordinator who is appointed for November 2025. And remember, for all 4 of these schools, the classes from 6th to 9th grade plus high school rely 100% on those outsourced educators we just talked about. Basically, the state provides the management shell and the external contracts provide the teaching engine.
Okay, Section 4, the 7 federal polos. Let's check out their standardized internal structure.
Let's ground ourselves geographically real quick. The state is divided into these 7 specific administrative hubs. Polo 1 is in Renan Rosso, Polo 2 is at Castro Alves, Polo 3 in Zaquinarshi, and Polo 4 at Ubaldo Pinto. Rounding out the rest, we've got Polo 5 in Caraguatatuba, Polo 6 in Villa Sonia, and Polo 7 in Barro Branco.
These locations? These are the actual epicenters for rolling out polyvalent education.
And this brilliantly illustrates how tight the whole system is. Even though you have 7 completely different geographical locations, every single polo uses this exact same 4-tier management cascade. It starts with the general polo director at the top, flows down to the decentralized unit directors, then through to the school organization managers, and finally lands with the coordinators and secretaries. It is incredibly efficient. It pretty much guarantees that no matter which polo you walk into, the chain of command is absolutely identical.
Almost there. Section 5, Technical Class Distribution, the Standard Teaching Matrix.
Now, the original source document literally has about 15 pages of highly repetitive scheduling data for all 7 polos. But to put it simply, everything aggregates down into this one universal rule. For the morning and afternoon shifts, which cover both high school and technical segments, the curriculum block is rigidly set to either 5 or 10 classes. On the other hand, the night shift, which is strictly technical, operates exclusively on blocks of 4 or 5 classes. And this exact rule applies identically across every single one of the 7 polos. It is a perfect example of how they've taken a vastly complex system and simplified it through rigorous data structuring.
So when does all of this theory actually become reality? Mark your calendars, June 20th, 2025. The document makes it explicitly, unmistakably clear that this is the specific official date when the active teaching contracts for all these matrices go live. This is the big trigger date for the entire 2025 reorganization.
But wait, the architects of this booklet left a highly specific, kind of sneaky clause buried right at the very end in the final provisions. It acts almost like a scheduled software update for the entire school system. And it immediately prompts a huge question. What exactly happens just a few months later, specifically on September 25th, 2025?
Well, on that exact date, the system will undergo its first major planned expansion. We're talking about the inclusion of teachers and students from the COT, the Technical Orientation Center network. Think about that for a second. This means the meticulously balanced classes and the rigid administrative structures we just broke down, they're going to have to dynamically adapt to a massive influx of brand new educators and learners right in late September. It really leaves us to wonder, is this standardized framework flexible enough to seamlessly handle a mid-semester integration like that? Or will adding the technical orientation centers push this bureaucratic blueprint past its breaking point? Honestly, we're just going to have to watch the 2025 academic year unfold to find out.